And we're back. Welcome to the Schedule
We're back.
Podcast. This is Carlos Gomez. And with us this week, we are speaking to the one, the only, the world famous DJ Risky Business.
All right.
You're a goof.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Chadricks. Welcome, Chadrington III.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
And a special guest, we have that one dude, Brian Brockmeyer.
The bald-headed bearded one.
the fuzzy snowman.
Fuzzy snowman.
Oh, what?
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
And then we got Charlie B. Williams III.
What's up, everyone? I am back. How's everybody doing?
Very good, sir. Very good.
Excellente. And then we have Jack Kasperzak.
Hello, I am back.
Yay, Jack is back. And Charlie, Charlie, I want to talk to you about your day, but
Okay, no problem.
But Jack has probably something that's a little bit more. I mean, we could talk about it, but it's probably not as a lengthy conversation as the one that we're probably going to have with you. But Jack, you got a new toy.
Yeah, you know that stuff that they were showing on the Facebook about this seaweed that they found that scientists say tastes like bacon? Yes.
Really?
You didn't think I was going there.
I was hoping you had a new tech toy or something.
I ordered some because it intrigued me. I said, I don't believe it. I call bullshit.
So you,
yeah,
So you
doesn't
gave
really
me
taste.
money.
Doesn't taste like.
so you
bacon.
got some. So you got some greens that taste like bacon.
Well, so they claim that it wasn't one of these like vegan hacks, like, ooh, this tastes just like the real thing. No, it was like they portrayed it as though scientists just discovered this algae that tastes just like bacon, and it was like articles popping up everywhere. And
I
was
remember
like,
seeing something about that.
yeah, and people were going nuts over it, and I was like, I call bullshit. So I wanted to order some, and I went on Amazon, and they had it, so I ordered some. And I put it on some stuff, like some potatoes and some Brussels sprouts, and it's like okay.
Does it taste like bacon?
Not really. It's like
tastes like
salty. No, I mean it's kind of got like that salty, savory thing going on, but it really kind of more tastes like a salty, savory ocean.
I don't think it tastes like bacon unless it's just pig belly fat, and that's all.
That's it. That's one of the things that makes bacon so good. It's the Russian roulette that you play every time you have a plate of bacon. You may have a heart attack, you may not.
Bacon's never hurt anybody.
Yeah, that's what I got. Is that what you were referring to?
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so now to Charlie. See, I wanted you to be excited, but now you want to be Mr. Smarty, so now we're going to talk to Charlie.
I'm still
kidding.
excited. I'm
Just
still
kidding.
excited.
I want to know
Jack,
how much he
tell us
paid.
for real. Don't tell us about some bacon.
No, but I really did want to tell you about the bacon because I was really intrigued by that, and I was really disappointed also by it.
Stop calling it bacon.
No, but yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
Okay, fine. I got cricketed. Well,
I think that's a first.
I think that might be.
Yeah.
No, but so I went into Best Buy looking. I wanted to get a cable, and I walked out. And I walked out with the iPad Pro and the iPencil.
Wait, yeah, what?
Pencil.
You gonna use that pencil? About 8 p.m.
Pause.
the iPencil.
He said pause.
Yeah, I've been, we've had so many guests on here talking about it, raving about it, and I've been eyeing it, and well, it's pretty awesome. You got to check out my. I've been posting some stuff.
Instagram?
I saw your tweet.
It's pretty cool. It feels probably the most natural like drawing I think I've ever. More so than the Wacom. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have the power as the big machines, but for sitting in bed and like sketching and there's like, I mean, it's super cool.
I was telling you before the show started that yesterday was not a good day for me and my companion. and my companion was being a real jerk, and I was cursing it out, and I said, "That's it. Jack got one, DaCosta got one, Steve got one, like all these guys got one, and they love it. Mike Henry has one." I'm like, "That's it. I'm done with Windows altogether. I don't even care." And then there was a Windows update and a Java update, and now it works fine again, which is cool because my car is in the mechanic, and I'm going to be spilling all kinds of money into that thing. So I was like, "Companion, you survived this one."
You survived for now.
So speaking of having troubles with Windows, hey Charlie.
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm behind the weird blockade that is no camera. But I'm here. I just have a picture of my beautiful lips up instead.
Pause.
Did you like that?
Pause.
No, I don't know. I don't know what.
Why don't you pull up your pants and tell us where you were today?
Okay, so today, well, it started last week though, a little bit, where we got contacted, me and my wife Monica, through a friend of Monica's friend, of her friend or whatever, through Facebook. We always post pictures of our daughter. My wife's Italian, and so my daughter's biracial or mixed, whatever you want to call her.
Don't be racist.
That's not racist. Anyway, watch the show. Anyway, so what we did, what happened was we ended up going on to Steve Harvey today, and we got picked to be on the show. One of two couples are on the show because Taye Diggs, the actor, if you don't know who he is, look him up. But Taye Diggs wrote a book called "Mixed Me" for mixed children, right? And what he did was it's a beautiful illustrated book talking about acceptance and how to be comfortable in your own skin, learning how to be accepted by both sides. It's a cool book, illustrated really cool too. Also, if my camera was working, I'd show you the book. But we'll put links to the book on Amazon and stuff like that. It's really cool. So we were on there as a guest, not just in the studio audience, but we were on there as a guest, so it was the whole nine. Got there around 1:30.
You're up on stage and everything?
No, we were in the front row, but we were in like special seats in the front row. Yeah. And we got there at 1:30. So we had our own green room, and the whole thing went through hair and makeup. They put us through wardrobe and everything too. We brought stuff, but we ended up putting through wardrobe. Their whole the whole inner workings of that is amazing. If you've ever been to a TV show or seen how that works, how they do that like 3 times a week is, I don't even know. It seems it was stressful, and we hardly had to do much because everybody else was running around. And they tape out 3 times a day. So they tape Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and it's usually like 3 shows, and they split them up into segments. So, and then they have editors and stuff like that. They put it all together. So I was peeping all the behind the scenes and the cool editing setups and stuff as I walk by rooms. But yeah, we went on at I think we finally went on at 4. It was like an hour and a half, and then we finally was leaving there about 5. So it was like an all day thing. We thought we'd be in and out of there by but through like getting fitted, I had to put a suit jacket and all that stuff on. And I got measured and fitted for all that there within like 45 minutes before the show started. Like he was like, "I'm just gonna measure you all up because you're kind of tall. We're gonna get this going." I'm like, "Okay." And then he goes back to his wardrobe and pulls out all these cool looking clothes. You could check out. I'll put pictures up on my artist page on Facebook and stuff like that. And got to meet Taye Diggs afterwards a couple times. It was really cool. Took pictures.
Yeah, I saw that picture
stuff
on Facebook.
Now, when you see the picture on Facebook, you should have seen what he was wearing. It was
like, he looks like he got sprayed with paint or something.
Dude, it was like hammer pants that were like looked like they had like paint.
Yeah, hang on, I can
splatter on it, right? Or something. And then he had like a blue shirt and a vest and a hat, kind of like Pharrell's hat, but like smaller. It's like, but not as like tall. Just wearing whatever he wanted to wear. on the show.
When you got that much dough, it doesn't even matter.
Right?
Charlie,
Yeah.
did he
What's up?
announce your names right?
Yes, but he had a whole monologue. He had a whole monologue, Risky, like before the show, because he came out and some girl from the audience, you know how he talks to the crowd after there's a hype man. The hype man was actually hilarious. I don't know who this hype man was, but if he does stand up or something else other than Steve
Flavor
Harvey
Flav.
stuff, no, this is other little like island dude. His one-liners were like amazing. He was like, I can't even remember some of the stuff he was saying, but he did a good job. But Steve came out and was talking about he just had a birthday recently because somebody said happy birthday. He almost didn't even want to acknowledge the girl that said it. He was like, "Yeah, I had a birthday." That's hilarious. But like, he said, I had a birthday and I had a pageant all in the same month, and everybody kind of laughed. And he's like, and when you watch the show, he talks to Tay about it too. But he kind of made jokes about how he and the winner is, and he starts doing. So he's definitely like playing it up, you know, and using it in his
Yeah, they made a little
routine.
bit too big of a deal about that. People were on
Yeah.
that guy too
Yeah,
much.
and they
I
talk
mean,
about it on the show.
Harvey.
Yeah, right. You know, it's like he made it was crazy because they kind of blew this whole thing out of proportion with Tay Diggs. Also, I guess because he made this book, he's been getting backlash. But I think Tay Diggs gets backlash ever since he married his wife. His wife is white, and he was getting he was saying on the show that she was getting death threats and stuff like that
Holy
because
crap.
because they married. So there it's his ex-wife now, but they have what is it? Parenting of his
Custody.
son, custody, and
Shared custody.
it wasn't a nasty breakup or anything like that. They were like amicable. They didn't even take any money or anything. So it's how most people should do it, right? But like, who knows how that will put a strain on that marriage? I can only assume. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it was other things. But he said I never knew that. Like he was saying, like when he was doing the Broadway stuff and other stuff, he constantly had to have like heavy security because of just the amount. Because I guess people see him in all those different movies and stuff, and I don't know if it was black women or just women around the world or whoever were just like mad that he married a white woman, you know.
It's crazy. It's crazy because today, like, it was announced that Common is dating Laura Dern, right?
Oh yeah.
Already, people are starting to trip on him.
Is that real?
I'm tripping on him because
Is that real though?
it's really weird looking to me. But other than that, like, who cares who he wants to date? I don't know if it's real or not. I mean, yeah, maybe. Who knows? I don't necessarily want to believe what I read on Facebook or the internet, but you know, even if it is or isn't, regardless, people tend to trip out about the most ridiculous things or what other people do with their lives, and
whoever
Yeah.
doesn't know, Common obviously is one of the big hip hop acts coming out of Chicago, and the lady that he is dating is the main actress from Jurassic Park.
yeah.
Oh, her. Okay, now I know. What you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay.
Whatever.
I never get off on who's dating who. Like, if you said Kanye and Common were starting to date, I'd be like, whoa, okay. They better make some good records.
They have made good records.
It's a little weird if it was Common, but didn't Lauren Dern date, or wasn't she married to Ben Harper for a long time?
Yeah, she was actually. Yeah, back in the day.
Hmm.
You guys remember Ben Harper?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that folk
Quite the talent, that guy.
folk singer, folk pop.
Speaking of talented music makers, DJ Risky Business, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of this and
Oh man,
starting to get this popping, son.
I mean,
Yes,
I know this is like the creative. I know this is kind of like, well, I mean, obviously me and Ryan are in Chicago. Everybody else is on the West Coast, right?
I'm in Chicago.
Charlie's in Chicago too.
Oh, Charlie's in Chicago. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it's a Chicago West Coast thing. But from what I understand about, you know, and I've seen the show, but this is like the Howard Stern of creative.
Nice.
That's right.
I'll be the Beetlejuice today.
We have yet to get any strippers on the show, though. Working on it, though. We're working on
Little people strippers is what you need.
Carlos, you gotta be a lot meaner.
We'll call Pink Avenue models. Maybe they can hook us up
Whoa.
with some.
No.
Whoa.
Here we go.
And there it goes.
Don't give him too
No,
much
thank
room.
you for having me, though. Appreciate it.
So let's talk about that. Like, I mean, yeah, we have a tendency to talk to more of the visual artists and stuff.
Sure.
But you're a DJ. You make music happen. You blend music. What's your approach when you're looking at, say, a mixtape or even when you punch in at the club? What's your approach when you're creating music sets?
Well, this is the thing. Like, the mixtapes are a little bit different. Usually, I'll plan something out and I'll want to do some type of theme to it. I've done maybe, I don't even know, maybe 75, 80 mixtapes that have been like out in the world, and a lot of them have had distribution. That doesn't really happen much anymore because now the those were back when when I was pressing up cassettes and CDs, and I had distributors and they would go all over the place. That doesn't happen anymore. Music doesn't exist like that anymore, really. I mean, it still does to a degree, but once music's out there now, it's just out there. So I do mixtapes and I put them up for free. All my old mixtapes I try to upload and put up for free. But a lot of those were theme tapes. Like, I did several Common mixtapes. I did a Kanye mixtape. And like when I try to do an artist mixtape, I try to... So I did 3 Common mixtapes. The rapper Common, from Chicago. Many people know him
dating the Jurassic Park lady?
Yes.
Allegedly.
Many people know him as an
Allegedly
actor,
dating
right?
Kanye. Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. So I'll try to do so I'm assuming that if you want the mixtape that I'm going to give you, you're already a fan, so I wouldn't put anything that you could get access to typically back then. I would get a hold of demo stuff, unreleased music, B-side stuff that you might not have access to that DJs typically can get. So I would do mixes
imports.
What's that?
Imports,
yeah, all different stuff. And then I'd present it in a package and then, give it to people so that our fans, they could hear a lot of different stuff they wouldn't usually be getting an opportunity to listen to.
Let's talk about the ramp-up process that you go through to get to that point. Do you sit and listen to music 24/7?
Wow, I used to really and that's the thing as a DJ, I teach young kids and one of the biggest things about being a DJ is knowing your music. That's one of the biggest battles is benefits you can have to being a DJ is not necessarily all the skills, because not everybody has skills. You can still be a good DJ, but the key, knowing your music, knowing what records to play, how to play, and where to play. But yeah, I would listen to a ton of music in preparation for it. And back in the day, before now we have computers that will tell you BPMs and things like that, so it makes things a lot easier. BPM meaning beats per minute. That's how when you mix records, you're blending records together and you're matching the beats per minute, aka BPMs. So they blend together to make one continuous mix. I used to take the record and I would actually sit there and just count out every BPM on every one of my records so I could mark it and know where stuff was. And I'd plan, when I'd plan my mixtapes out, I would try to write all the BPMs to all the songs and kind of just put them in an order. And then at that time, just because a song has the same BPM doesn't mean it has the same energy to the song. Mm-hmm. So those don't necessarily automatically mean it's going to mix together. So you're kind of creating a whole a whole tapestry, of art, I guess. And if you're representing the artist, if you're playing this music, like if I'm doing the Common mixtape, I want to represent him the best to my ability. So, yeah, I listen to a lot of music.
So do you make beats too, or do you just take the albums and mix the music together?
No, I make music too. I make beats too. I just did a record with a rapper named Profound, and just sent a record out to another rapper named Griffin, and I'm currently working on a project now, which I'm going to actually hit up Ryan here, because me and Ryan have been talking about doing something like this for a while. I started working on it, and Ryan actually makes beats as well. We've done stuff together a long time ago, but yeah. But yeah, no, I got a project coming out now that's going to be more of a well, it's not coming out yet. It's coming out hopefully, if I can manage to make it happen, it can come out by the end of the year. But it's going to be more of like a trip hop down tempo vibey soul project. Nice. It's with a amazing singer out of LA named Shanna, and my buddy Griffin, who plays guitar. And we're going to bring keys and horns and all kinds of live instrumentation. But I'm actually going to be sampling stuff, because I want it to kind of have a mix of like, kind of almost like that. Like there was this group in the 90s called Portishead, which amazing group. If you've never heard of them, please check them out. Massive Attack was another group.
Hell yeah.
And they sampled a lot, and they mixed classic kind of almost hip-hop sampling production with live instrumentation and blended that into these great sounds, and that's what we're going to do. The project is called She Killed in Ecstasy. Yeah. And that's because I'm a big horror movie junkie, and it's named after a Spanish horror movie that I love.
So let's talk about sampling and all this other stuff, because if you've listened to the podcast or even during conversations, I always
watch your mouth.
I always bring up this up this conversation, and I need a professional to set me straight.
Please do.
How hard is it to take a song that was already a hit,
better watch your mouth,
and
mix it to make a hit?
You mean taking like big hit records, the puffy thing? I mean, it's not hard to take if generally, and see, then I say Puffy because Puffy was notorious for this. Puffy would take top 40 records that were big, maybe in a different era, 10 years prior to him. He would do simple loops and basically rap over them, almost create instrumentals. I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that, but for the most part, Puffy was the king of that, and they were hits, huge hits. And the reason why they were hits is because you're taking those melodies and those sounds that were huge once, and they're gonna be huge again. And Puffy was just smart enough to do it, and other producers like that to do it. Now that's easy, and I mean, typically you don't even mess with it too much, because the whole point of you sampling that is for people to recognize that part of the record or that break again, because you want the hit again. But then there's sampling,
like what Kanye does, though.
Kanye does that quite a bit, yeah. Kanye does a little bit of both to me.
He does it.
But does it? Well, who would do it like where they're layering, where you might not even realize that was a sample to the untrained eye, where it's a little bit more, I don't know what the word would be, a little bit more technical, I guess you would say.
Q-Tip was an amazing producer to layer and alter samples like you wouldn't recognize.
Pete Rock.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Sometimes Pete Rock actually, and here's the thing. These guys also didn't take pop records or records that you were familiar with, typically.
That was the difference. That was the difference between old production and kind of when Puffy started really doing stuff, and why he got hated on a whole lot from it. Because before, a lot of the old producers, that was their whole point, was to find those gems, those hidden gems that people didn't necessarily recognize, or something that nobody has ever heard of, and make something new out of it.
Yeah.
And not to say that other producers back in that day didn't sample popular songs, because they did, but I think Puffy was the first one to really blatantly say, I'm going to take this song that was a #1 Billboard hit, like The Police, and redo that.
And just barely do much other than a loop and rap over it. Yeah, I mean that was part of the genius of it too.
Well, Jay-Z had Hard Knock Life. Same exact thing.
Yeah, that was Jay-Z. The story behind that, Jay-Z actually, that record was produced and already made as an instrumental. Mark the 45 King had made that record, and he was a producer from the 80s who was mainly known as Queen Latifah's producer in the early 80s. Excuse me. And he happened to walk into a club, and Mark was playing it, and was like, "Oh, this is genius." But yeah, same thing. Immediately he clicked and was like, "Oh, massive hit at one point. It's gonna be a hit again." So there's producers that dig deep. They find rare records. And there's like Charlie was talking about, people that layer. The kings of that, to me, will and always will be a production duo out of New York called the Bomb Squad. That was they mainly produced Public Enemy. They also did an Ice Cube record, and really kind of were just mainly focused with Public Enemy. And to be quite honest with you, if the Bomb Squad doesn't exist, then Dr. Dre doesn't exist, because I think Dr. Dre's whole style of production comes solely from the Bomb Squad.
I want to say that second NWA album is completely, I don't want to say but it's completely influenced by the Bomb Squad as far as production goes.
I want to say there was a documentary. I think it was more about producing and DJing, and I think where the Bomb Squad was featured in it. There's a bunch of other ones. Sometimes I don't know if it was Technique, but sometimes them or some of the other manufacturer put out these off documentaries that were on YouTube at one point and a couple other places for their web presence.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called though. I wish I knew what it was, but that's how I learned more about the Bomb Squad, and also. I think they talked about their influence on Dre, and they mentioned a couple other people, that.
One of the things that were key to production in the 80s and 90s too, why sometimes when you sit and listen to that stuff and you're amazed, was due to the fact that they were limited. They were like, now I can go over here to this machine, I can sample anything for as long as I want, and I can pretty much do anything I want, which can kind of drive you nuts, because it's like, okay, I can do anything I want. What the hell do I want to do? Back then, they had a record.
A blank canvas can be a dangerous thing.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like you stare at a blank canvas, and you're like, where do I start? What do I do? And I have a system of how I'm working on this album to kind of, I'll tell you how I'm doing this in a minute, but back then, there was only so much sample time that they could have, and there were so many limitations to what they were doing. They were forced to do certain things a certain way, which literally created the sound. And that's why we don't get that sound anymore, because nobody really uses those tools anymore. I mean, don't. The old producers still sometimes use them, but yeah, they don't use them no more.
So what's the difference between being a DJ and being a producer?
A DJ is someone that's playing music for the crowd, whether it is a mixtape where you're playing for whoever's listening to that mixtape, or you're playing for a live crowd. I love to play for live crowds. I do every weekend. I've been doing it for longer than I want to even tell people. But
3 weeks.
Yeah. But it's I get to do really cool stuff. Like I'll play Friday night, and it's at the place I've been at for many, many years. I've been there 10 years, called Sweet Lounge in Old Town. It's
Great place.
yeah, it's kind of like a high-end martini bar, but no pretentious attitude to it. You know, I'm still very blessed. We still get a line to get in on my Friday nights, and you know, I'll start off early in the evening, and it's people are there after work drinking martinis, and I'll play like it's different. Sometimes I'll play chill out music to start off the evening, or I'll play like, and then sometimes I'll play like 90s R&B, which is still kind of vibey and sexy and chilled.
One of the last times I was there and you were DJing, I got in a dance battle because you started playing New Edition.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Boys to Men. Yeah.
Yep.
I had to break someone off a little bit of.
Throw it back a lot. Yeah, I'll go back. And that's the thing. I try to play different genres for everybody. I'll play different genres. I'll go back and forth through decades, and we'll do like a lot of 90s hip hop and stuff like that. And we're known for that now too. I think a lot of people like specifically come to see us. And even the other DJs, when I have other DJs play, I try to keep them in the same. We try to keep a format there as much as possible. I mean, I don't ever want to tell anybody what to play, but I try to keep a format going there. And then Sunday, like this Sunday, I'm going to be at Old Town Social, and I'm doing from noon to 3. I'm doing a soul brunch. So people come in, it's brunch, and I'm playing classic soul, jazz, R&B records up to new stuff. I'll play Minnie Riperton to like Erica or something.
So when you had your Xbox or have your Xbox and you went out and you got that DJ Hero game, did you just kill it?
Yeah, I actually did buy that game. This is true. No, it was like super boring. It was horrible.
Because that's what guitar players say. Yeah, this game is dumb as hell. It doesn't make sense to me. It drives me crazy. I can't play it. Was that kind of what you felt like? Like, okay, no, I can't.
Yeah, it just didn't do anything for me.
I mean, probably the same thing that Guitar Hero did to actual guitar players.
Yeah,
I actually like the Rock Band Guitar Hero games, but that's because I love the music on it.
Yeah, I used to have Rock Band parties, and people would be still playing this damn game at 6 o'clock in the morning. My neighbors would be like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "All right, you guys got to get the hell out of here, because I got to get some sleep."
They did try with the DJ one. They tried with the with the little peripheral that you had to have with the game. They tried to put a bunch of people next to it, but that was just like, you could tell that was just a payday for them.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever hear of the guy who, it was at least one guy who was on, I think, Craigslist, saying, "Oh yeah, I'll DJ your wedding for the super cheap price, but this is the this is the music lineup," and it was all the music from DJ Hero.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, really?
This kid was gonna set up DJ Hero and mix people's weddings. DJ people's weddings.
How old was he?
Oh, I have no idea.
I wonder if he was
He was like 12.
Yeah, I hope he was like 12 instead of like 32.
Yeah.
I would have been like,
I'll tell
yeah,
you
my
what.
kid's an entrepreneur.
I'll tell you what, I do clubs and I do weddings, and I started doing weddings a few years ago, and I enjoy doing weddings for several reasons, mainly because
you really like YMCA.
well,
Ooh.
actually I don't really do that, but
Oh, thank
the
you.
big reason is because it's a lot of money. But no, I don't really do that. Actually, when I do weddings, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, if you're paying me $1,500, $2,000, I'll play polka music all night. I don't give a shit. I'll play whatever
We'll be
you
chicken
want.
dancing our asses out.
I mean, seriously.
Bunch of Soul Train lines.
That being said, I like to I like doing weddings. They're a challenge. They're way harder to do than any club I've ever done, or anything I've ever done, because you're playing for little kids, to older people, to like grandmas, and then you're playing for the drunk that asks for the annoying music, and
No.
it's definitely a challenge, but
It's got to be perfect too, because
and you got to be perfect.
Because then otherwise you have to, you have that 8-year-old that goes, "Mommy, what's pop that booty?"
I get little kids that come up and ask for ridiculous stuff that's completely inappropriate, and I'm like, kid, I ain't playing that. Go away.
Here's a permission slip.
Yeah, it's totally awkward. But a lot of the weddings I do, I get to kind of do me, so I get to kind of play still. I don't do a whole lot. Almost never do I play a lot of the cliche wedding stuff. I get to kind of do cool stuff. That's why I end up getting, I'll get tipped and good reviews because it's not. Plus, I'm mixing. Like a lot of these wedding DJs, they're just up there and they're mailing it in and they're cookie cutter and they're doing their.
Yeah, but you don't market yourself as a traditional wedding DJ. It's not like you're in the yellow pages under wedding DJ. You get a lot of referrals and people have hired you from your track record from spinning in clubs and that. So they want you to do what you do out there just for their wedding, right?
No, yeah, this is true.
So how'd you get into DJing?
It's crazy. Like I just
went to this wedding.
Being a music hound as a little kid. Check this out. This is really interesting. So,
we'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I decide this is interesting.
Wow.
So,
it's like I'll be
the
judge.
I don't know if anybody's ever made like pause mixtapes when they were kids, right? You guys know that? What that is?
Pause mixtapes?
Pause. Like you just like tape stuff off the radio.
And you put a space in between.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I would take a CD player or a record player, whatever I was taking from the source, and then I would record the songs onto cassette tape. Then my brother showed me how to repair cassette tapes when I was a kid. So I was like maybe about 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. He showed me how to repair a cassette tape when it broke, how to open it up and cut it and tape it together. And I don't know if anybody's ever done that before. Then you kind of take the pencil and you tighten it back. So I actually would put a bunch of songs on a cassette tape, and then I would cut them right where I felt like, because they couldn't really blend like this, but I would cut them off right where I thought a good point would be to mix the record or kind of just bump the record up to the next one. So then I would open up the cassette tape, and then I would go to work like Dr. Frankenstein, and I would take a razor blade. I would cut the actual tape, and then tape it together, and I was literally doing mixtapes like that, like splicing mixtapes. So I was cutting reel, like in the studio when you have 2-inch reel and you're making a record. Back in the day, you used to cut reel to reels, and that's how you edit. You would cut these reels. I didn't know anything about that, but at 11, 12 years old, I was doing that on my own. I just kind of figured that out. And I was making mixtapes, right? And then I was like, well, I got to get turntables because I got to be a real DJ. So I went and borrowed money and was working, doing all kinds of like odd jobs and dumb shit. And somehow, I can't remember exactly what I was doing to get money, but I was getting money as a kid.
You can say it. Selling weed, selling crack.
Yeah, no. No, I wasn't hustling. I think I was actually like selling like Chicago Sun-Times subscriptions or something.
Nice.
I think that's what it was. But anyway, yeah, so I was getting money together, and I borrowed some money and bought turntables. I did everything on my own. I taught myself everything on my own. But, growing up in Chicago, with Chicago radio, I could listen to the radio and try to mimic what they were doing. So I'd buy the records that they were doing on the radio and try to mimic it. And then eventually you start meeting people in the neighborhood, or different people that are into the same thing, and then you start, working with them, comparing. And I would have parties at the house with other horrible starting out DJs like me, and we would just practice and literally like I would set them up and then we would just boom 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 go down the line and I would put a record on and then they would have to try to blend it and that's we just like kind of challenge each other.
Speaking of those challenges, have you seen Rhythm Roulette?
Yeah,
on YouTube.
Yeah, it's very good. Like Mass Appeal does that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff.
That's super challenging. I would imagine like. Well, I was telling you for working on this record, I set up like a schedule. Like one day I'm gonna work on keys and try to come up with different melodies and stuff like that. Whatever. I don't really play very well. I kind of just figure it out, bang it out, right? I'm very rudimental on the keyboard. But I mean, you don't really have to play too much to kind of figure out basic melodies and stuff like that. And effectively, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a basic melody and then I'm going to take it to a real player and then have them play it. That's what a producer does.
Yeah.
You know, you can
delegate, outsource.
You can outsource and have real musicians make your ideas way better than you can ever make them. And then the next day I'm just going to work on drums, and then that next day I'll just work on like samples. So I'll spend like 3-4 hours, 5 hours, whatever, however long, and I'm just going. And the key is, again, I'm trying to go super rare and deep, but I'm looking for a certain sound. So the records I'm kind of going through are like more 60s and late 60s, early 70s, kind of like instrumental and from soul records, instrumental soundtracks. I'm digging through old, bizarre, like horror movie soundtracks and stuff like that. So
nice.
Yeah.
You keep bringing up mixtapes and slicing mixtapes and doing all that fun stuff. Are there any mixtapes that you created that you can say got you noticed as a DJ?
Yeah, I've had several ones that were like pretty international, you know, like, and I don't mean to say that like cocky or anything. They just happen to take off way beyond than I ever thought it would happen. One of them, so I was hanging around with a bunch of people in Michigan. I became friends with DJ Head, who was Eminem's DJ. And I would travel up to Michigan and we would trade records. And this was right around the time, right before M got his deal. And
he got a deal?
Yeah, he got quite a deal.
Really?
Yeah, Eminem, things worked out for him.
Yeah. Don't mind, Carlos. Keep going. Great story.
So,
well, for those people that don't know, Eminem was not he wasn't always Eminem. He was out there and getting his hustle on and
yeah, he was a battle rapper, and he would come to Chicago a lot. He'd come to WHBK in the Southside. We'd travel all over the Midwest. And in 1997, there was a big, huge battle. It was a DJ battle, MC battle, and it happened in Cincinnati, and it went on for years. It was called the Scribble Jam. One of the rappers who I've DJed for several rappers, and one of the rappers who I DJed for, MC Juice, who was a known battle rapper, he battled. He won that battle actually, and in the final round was Eminem. He battled Eminem. He battled Eminem twice that day. Also, Rhymefest battled Eminem. When Rhymefest is another local Chicago rapper. Anyway, that being said, I ended up forming a relationship with M's DJ Head, and I don't know if we ever thought M would do anything. And while I was in Michigan, I got to meet some really cool people, form some cool relationships, and the people that I met at the time, nobody was really doing anything. I mean, we were all just kids doing hip hop locally in our own scene. But we were up there sharing. There was a group out of Chicago called All Natural that I really loved, and I was sharing their music with the Detroit kids, and the Detroit kids were giving whatever local stuff to me. On one of those trips, I got to meet a producer by the name of Jay Dilla, and I got to like hang out with him for like a weekend basically, and form a relationship with him. Another DJ House Shoes, bunch of Detroit guys, really really cool people. Um, anyway, let me go back here. Me and Head, I would stay over by Head's place, and he gave me a bunch of Eminem stuff and was like, "Hey, take this, do an Eminem mixtape." I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Deal.
So I went back to Chicago and put a bunch of weird kind of like demo stuff and other kind of like side project stuff Eminem had done, and we did a mixtape called The Shadiest, and my buddy Mike Q helped me on it, and we just put it out. I pressed it on cassette, and it kind of just went everywhere. And what's interesting about that is there's still about 4 or 5 tracks on that were the original demo versions to songs that he eventually put out, but they've never ever seen the light of day, and that's surprising to me because the way Eminem fans are, they're insane with all his tracks, and they're collectors and all that stuff. It's I'm just surprised that none of those have ever surfaced anywhere else other than my mixtape. I mean, it's cool, but it's pretty. Maybe
What was
I'm the
his
only one
sound
that
like
has
when
those.
you? What was his sound like when you were creating this tape? Because the Eminem in the very beginning, he had kind of this rapid delivery, and it was kind of just wacky stuff. And now it seems like he's just angry all the time.
Yeah.
What was the tape like that you created? That because that's the music that got him found by Dre.
Yeah, that it was some of the stuff from that demo and some of the stuff from the Infinite, and then it was songs that he was recording, which later became they were demo versions of songs that later became the Slim Shady LP, which is what he recorded with Dre. Um, it was that era M. I mean, it was that late '90s era M. Super witty, extra punchline raps. Drug references all over the place, drug and murder and sex and like hyper stylized lyrics and ultra violence and all that stuff. I mean, that's what people loved about him. He was like a Stanley Kubrick movie or something, lyrically, but
Literally crazy.
yeah, he was crazy.
When I first heard him, I was like, this dude's crazy.
Yeah, he's a smart dude though, and he was a great lyricist. He was a mix of crazy and lyric, just wordplay. I mean, M's M. So the Eminem mixtape blew up, and that was good. I ended up doing a mixtape with the rapper Juice called 100% Juice.
And if you guys didn't pick this up. Juice is the one rapper that handed Eminem his ass in a battle rap.
Yeah, Juice did that to a lot of people. Juice could be considered, and you could argue that he's the best freestyle rapper, MC, maybe ever on the planet. Yeah,
so you worked with him on a mixtape too, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, we did the 100% Juice mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
That came out. That's interesting because I did that at the house and mixing again demo stuff, like stuff I took stuff off cassette, stuff off of vinyl, stuff off of whatever CDs at the time. I mixed it all on a VS-80, which was an old 4-track digital recorder, and just threw this thing together. It wasn't intended to kind of be what it became. I guess, I mean, who expects anything to do what it does, right? But it ended up getting picked up by New Groove Alliance, which was a big underground hip-hop distributor on the West Coast, and they took it and got it everywhere. And it was weird, like it was just a mixtape I did in my bedroom, and then a few months later, I'm in Barnes and Noble, and and there it is in Barnes and Noble for like $19.
Wow.
And I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah. Guess I should buy one.
Right?
Good luck with that. They're out of print now. It's like $100 on eBay if you find a real
Holy
one.
cow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right? I think I got one left somewhere.
Have you ever had interest in being a radio DJ?
I've done college radio a bunch of times. I probably only college radio just because you can say and do what you want and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd want to be commercial radio. I'm too.
People, you say the wrong thing and it's game over, son. So many people get fired over some of the silliest stuff.
Yeah, and I would say the wrong thing like daily, so.
That's kind of true.
And I would get passionate about something stupid like the Cubs and something and curse.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I would think maybe like Satellite or somewhere like that. I don't know how.
Yeah, Satellite would be good.
I feel like some of those videos and that I watch on YouTube of the tapings and stuff, they feel like they have a lot of like leeway there, you know, on like on the different networks over there on Satellite Radio, you know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Hey, I'm going to show you guys something really quick, too. Ryan, you've seen this before, but give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I do have one cool little piece of memorabilia from that Eminem era. That's pretty cool.
Nice. I need some like elevator right now.
So yeah, how cool would that be to be hanging out with some dude and taking some of his music and just putting it together, and then all of a sudden that dude is, and if you're listening on iTunes,
Vader, get away! Get out of here!
He pulled out a Darth Vader toy. And then all of a sudden, the guy that you just created a mixtape for becomes probably the most well-known rapper pretty much ever. For a lot of different reasons. One, because everyone hated him. Two, because he took a music genre that people believed belonged to black folks, and he's some white dude that shows up and takes over. And funny enough, you got some white dude who was probably the best rapper, and then you had Tiger Woods, who's a black dude who was the best, golfer in. Goes to show you how wacky the '90s were.
Yeah, I got a question for Risky. Hey, Risky, and
yes, sir.
So here's my question. I believe it was last week or week before last. Macklemore came out with his new song, and I spoke with a couple other buddies. And if you don't know who Macklemore is, he's a rapper nowadays. And I just wanted you, have you heard this new song? Yep.
I actually haven't. I heard about it, but I just don't like Macklemore. So.
Yeah. Brian, have you heard it? Please tell me you've heard it.
I haven't listened to it either. I'm kind of in the same boat.
Because I want to know your thoughts. Like, if you can, I know you don't like it. I know you don't like them.
I know it's the whole like white privilege thing or whatever.
Yeah, and like, because he calls out a lot of people, including himself. But it's easier to call out other people and just say.
I just think he tries too hard. Just
right?
like.
Yeah, like.
And you know what it is? There's a lot of people out there that are like donning the outfit of the social justice warrior. So they do things like make music just to get these social brownie points.
But I don't think it works in hip hop for him. It just I don't see the reason of putting this song out. Like he calls out like Iggy Azalea and rightfully so Miley Cyrus and stuff like that, but make sure he leaves out Eminem or anybody like that because he ain't gonna catch.
And would light his ass up.
Well,
that's why.
Exactly. So like it's gonna look like on one end he just calls out all women, that's just taking advantage of that, and two, he calls out himself, but at the same time, like I don't know to me, I don't know the point of the song and like where do you go from here? Because if you just come out with this song and say you understand and this is why you may have had the leg up. He says he's had a leg up based on this color of his skin, and he gets a lot of flack, or he also gets a lot of attention from white America because he raps and he says how like parents have come up to him and said, well, "You're the only type of rap that I'll let my kid listen to," and blah blah blah, and how that makes him feel or affects his music. But then to me, and I've said this to a couple other friends, this sounds like you're like retiring, right? Because if you say all this stuff and then you just come out with a next song, what's the point of saying it? Like,
I Macklemore to me just always seems like he tries too hard to do. He's like the guy who's like trying to fit into the culture, or it's like please accept me. I'm rapping. I'm doing this, dude. Just and then another thing is like
Just make
with the whole
music.
like with the whole thing like if you're gonna be a part of black culture, then you need to um, do things like stand up with black people within
right,
certain things, right? Well,
right.
how about you don't even say anything and you just shut up and do it? Because it's like the dude who says, it's just like the whole like look at me, look at me.
Yeah,
I look at me and all my black friends. Like, yeah, we
yeah.
get it, dude.
Right.
Which I feel at some point when all that like Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, he was showing up to he was incognito type, as he says, showing up to these protests and stuff like that. He was right. He would get a little bit of press, but he did the right thing, kind of kept it to himself. But at the same time, I think when how you have celebrities or musicians that are too concerned with press. I think he'll see some blogger or see some activist or whatever, and he has to feel like he has to respond. Same thing like when he won the Grammy. Like I feel like if he just didn't say anything, no matter if he thought Nas should have won or whoever should have won in his place, sure. But like by saying he wants to give it back or he feels the same way, null and void anything that you've done that year, no matter what happened, you won, right? You should stand up for whatever you've done
Sure.
and win, right? But by saying, yeah, he should have done it and like automatically pandering to that crowd and saying, yes, you're right, whatever, I feel like you're a pushover and you don't really have any kind of backbone in that
I
aspect.
agree with you. Like I said, I constantly think he's like trying to. He's people like that are super concerned about what other people think of them, and they're always trying to defend why they're doing something or what they're doing. And the whole thing with the Grammys and all that, and people trip out like if Iggy wins or any of that. My thing is, as a person from the hip hop community, I laugh when people get upset about that because I'm like, it's hip hop. Why do you care about the Grammys? The Grammys is pop music.
Mhm.
Like it's pop music. It might say like it may have the rap category, but any rap music that's within the Grammy voting, I mean, it's old white people voting on that. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you're not. It's not real kind of. It's not the kind of hip hop like. It's not the real stuff, the street stuff, the message stuff. So, uh, who cares? It's for them. It's not for us.
And I always find it funny that you got some white dude making music to tell people how tough it is to be black. Like, I think we understand. I think we're good. But thank you though.
Mhm.
You know, uh, I don't get it.
No, it's just how it's just and I have to beat a dead horse with this, but I was just thinking the song in itself, it's uh, very informative, and if you just leave it at that, like if it's just another number seven on this new album, right? But the way it is, it's almost like he gives an ultimatum, and then if we get another thrift shop or whatever the song, which I did commend him for bringing in Kumo D with his other song, but if you get another party song, then we're gonna forget about this and then move on. So what was the point of making the song? Does it really have the same impact? That's all. So I always like to get people's view on it that actually does music and it's in the music industry to see what their thoughts on that dude was.
Sure. Macklemore's been around for a long time. I knew,
hard, right? Yeah.
he was an underground hip hop kid. He used to do shows here. I think he did a show at the Fireside in Chicago, and like he was kind of a grinding underground rapper for a long time. And they just like figured out a formula. Him and that Ryan Lewis kid figured out that pop formula. Good luck, good for them. They made just a shit ton of money and
Right.
Independent, right? He was independent too the whole time, right? So they got all that money, right? Or
what's that?
he was independent too when they hit
Independent, yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean that's huge money. So
yeah.
Rapping, singing, whatever you do, slamming on a guitar, drums, mic, whatever you want to do. If you're making money doing what you love, good for you, man. And he's a good dude. Like people trip out. Like I don't know him, but he doesn't seem like a bad person. So I'm just personally not a fan of his music. But yeah, that whole like the white privilege song, I didn't listen to it. It just seemed super try hard to me. I mean, I may listen to it if I get around to it. I wasn't a fan of the new Kanye song. Everybody was talking about that Fact song. The LA Parties in LA was good.
Yeah,
but
like
that Fact song, everyone was tripping on it, saying how great it was, and I'm like, man, that was just super try hard to me. It sounded like he was just trying to be Drake, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I like Drake being Drake, but I don't like other people being Drake.
Right.
You would think he wouldn't even have to, or make sure he'd stay as far away as possible of getting compared like that, So you would.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, I was going to show you guys this. So this, I know Ryan's probably seen this before, but this is an actual cassette that I got back then from M. And this is from 1995, and this was when M was in a group called Soul. Well, yeah, this is Soul Intent was the name of the group, and M drew that. That's the actual. There's only a few hundred of these cassettes in existence, and yeah, this was ultra rare. It was, and he was listed as on the credits. It's listed as M ampersand M and M. I don't know if you can see that. Hold on.
Oh yeah, artwork by M&M.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he got taken to court.
Yeah, that's probably why they probably did that. But yeah, he drew this actually. But and he sounded really like super, very Nazi on it, and kind of almost Bone actually. I think kind of like Bone too. He was finding himself. It was 1995. He was a kid. He had to have been about. Shit, he's a couple years older than me, so I would say he's probably about 20, 21 years old when he did that. But he actually kind of scored his deal a little. He was probably closer to like 27 or 8 or 29 when he got his deal.
Who are some of the other people that you've DJ'd for?
DJ'd for? I got the DJ for KRS-One one time. That was pretty crazy.
Really?
I was scared to death. I was shaking in my boots.
Is that at like a festival or somewhere? Where was that?
Is that the Metro?
Is that the Metro?
Cubby Bear.
Cubby Bear. Yeah. You were there, right, huh, Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they came through, and I can't remember what happened. Like they forgot like vinyl or something, and I happened to have. I don't know why. I can't remember what it was or how I was doing. Like, you want to DJ for me? And I'm like, I was like, yes. Like scared to death. Like like just afraid. Like if I screw up, I'm gonna just be like, it's gonna end my career, right? But I opened up the night and destroyed the crowd. It was a really fun crowd. I killed it out, and I don't ever really say I kill things, but I murdered the crowd that night. It was a great night. It was a good hip hop crowd, and then I just got to rock with Chris, so it was super cool. I DJ'd for Killah Priest before from the Wu-Tang Clan. He's one of these kind of like offshoot C-list, B-list Wu-Tang members.
How big they are.
That's my play cousin.
he's a C-list Wu-Tang member. That's awesome.
That was an interesting night.
He was the one Wu-Tang white dude.
That was an interesting night because I got pretty pissed off because at the time, you know, we've now advanced. Technology is now advanced, so sometimes you'll have CDJs or even controllers up there now. But you know, it was all vinyl back then. And we were at a place called the Blue Note, and it was a small club which had a small stage. And he was like 5 feet from me, and literally everybody was right on top of me, the DJ booth, which was just a table on the stage. And they kept jumping around, and the music kept skipping. And I'm like, look, fucking geniuses. Can I swear on here?
Yes.
Look, plastic and a needle. Like, you gotta stop fucking jumping around. You got 90 dudes on this fucking stage. Seriously, like, don't look at me like that. I told his manager, I'm like, yo, if they look at me crazy again like that, I'm taking the fucking record and smashing it and walking off stage. Boom, I'll mic drop this bitch. But, yeah, because he was looking at me like, yo, B. Gave me that New York, yo, money, yo, B.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, motherfucker, it's a fucking needle in plastic. What do you want me to do?
Love it. The anger is still there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Shit.
30 years.
Yeah. That was like
12.
9 feet or something.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that had to be super frustrating though anyway. Though.
I've done shows with like Busta Rhymes and Ice Cube and I guess if I thought about it, I don't know, a lot of people. Busta was interesting because I did DJ'd with DJ Clue that night and realized how absolutely god awful he was.
You're gonna say.
Yeah.
Well, he's an embarrassment.
No, it was bad.
Yeah, you remember that? You were there that night, Ryan? Yeah, you were there at the.
Yeah.
Ryan's always there.
They had us in this. It was a Salem show, and they had us in this gigantic, like, spaceship-looking DJ booth. It was ridiculous, and
I'll call it out. Dude was one of the most, especially at that time. He was one of the top known DJs in the world at that point.
He was spinning for Jay-Z at the time.
Yeah, and dude came in and had his set list completely laid out in his crates, and he would just go through and put one record on, get done with that, put that record in the back, and bring out another one, and he just kept going through, and he kept losing
how the crowd reacted.
Yeah, so he kept losing the crowd.
Sticking to his playlist. Now, me as a DJ, I base everything off of what the crowd's doing, literally. Like, so when someone says, do you know what you're going to play? So if I play a song, I literally have no idea what the next song is going to be until I play that. Like, I have nothing ever planned out. There's never once. Maybe when I first started out, I planned stuff out because I was scared or didn't know what to do or whatever, but shit, I was 16 when I did that. I don't plan anything out. I just do it. And you can't because you got to feel the crowd, you know? And this bozo is like playing records that nobody wants to hear. He's playing fabulous after fabulous song.
Oh, he loves
and
fabulous.
I was like, yo, play a fucking Common song. You're in Chicago, dude. Play a goddamn R. Kelly song. Do something.
For the love of.
And he was like, "Oops, Desert Storm," which was his label at the time, and he was playing like fabulous records, like, but not even like the good ones, like weird, like off the wall shit. This is horrible. It's bad.
Just pushing that New York sound to
and he doesn't mix.
Right?
He just train wrecks record to record.
Of the goddamn world.
He doesn't mix at all?
I don't know. He slams records, and then if he's not slamming, he's yelling in between them. And slamming is a term for when a DJ, it's when you're not actually blending or mixing the records. You're just taking the one record, and you're literally slam the crossfader over, and just the other record comes in extra abrasively. Extra loud, abrasive, and then sometimes you might like yell or put a sound effect of a gunshot in there or something. And it's a really lazy and bad way to DJ. And most New York DJs do that. No offense to New York, but, you know, most There's great DJs out of New York. There's a lot of fucking whack ones. I mean, there's whack ones here too, but this is the goddamn mecca of DJs on the planet. This is the birthplace of the true DJ. I'll say that to anybody. I mean, and while I am a hip hop DJ, I owe house music a great deal because why I'm as good as I am, why I think I'm as good as I am, has a lot to do with house music and the way we learned how to blend and with the way we heard how to mix growing up with certain DJs and how they did it, and we really took the art of mixing seriously.
So let's talk about house music for a second. House was born in Chicago.
House music all night long.
And not many people know this, but I know back when I was a kid, there was this club called the Warehouse, and they would play this certain music. So what's the difference between hip-hop music and house music?
Well, there's a huge difference in style and tempo down to the vibe. I would liken hip-hop almost more to punk, like street, aggressive, urban, and it's not that way anymore. It's really all over the place as far as who does it and everything, but hip-hop at its core is expression. Not all music's expression, but it's typically, and typically in hip hop, people are rapping over a beat. A beat is again, with hip hop, it's typically not over complicated production. Sometimes you can get great producers who can do very big produced tracks, but typically it's a basic drum loop and some sort of a sample to create melody to the song, and then a rapper will pretty much rap. Will spit different things, stories, street stories. Call them knowledge rappers that will be based more on self-awareness or teaching people things about life. So much you can get out of it. There's a lot to soak up. House music was spawned from disco. Disco was dying, and house music was pretty much spawned from people that didn't want to let disco die. And it's strictly pretty much just dance music. There's typically not a lot of lyrics. Sometimes there is if it's deep or vocal house, as they call it, which is kind of more of a subgenre, but it's almost always just what they call four on the floor, which is just boom, 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 beat. Four on the floor beat, and it can be very melodic. A lot of pianos, keys, sometimes guitars, and then vocalists too, but very soulful, and it takes its influence from disco. So, but it was started in the started from the ashes of disco music, and it's great. It's another Chicago-born music genre, and it started in the very early '80s. And where it got its term, house music, was because of the Warehouse. There's several people that talk about where the exact name for house music comes from. The one I've heard the most, and I think possibly, I don't know how you verify this, because you'd have to actually be there to verify, right? In fact, it's kind of folklore, right? But the story I've heard the most, and kind of what seems to be, is that the place where everybody met to hear this music was a place called the Warehouse. And when they started producing the records and selling them, it was at a place called, I believe it was Loop. I can't remember the record store. I think it might have been Loop Records down the street. And they didn't have a name for this genre of music. They knew it wasn't disco, but there wasn't a real name for it. So the guy who owned the record store, the clerk at the record store, just started putting on the wall where all these records that they played at the warehouse, he put basically put warehouse music. So people came in and they just started, and it eventually shortened, and people would say, "Let me get that house music, the warehouse music," and basically, I think he just basically shortened it, and there was a rack and it said house music, and that's
He
what I
probably had warehouse written on tape, and then the where
yeah,
part just kind of got old and got rubbed off.
probably. And I think people in Chicago are kind of fast talkers,
Yeah.
and everybody likes to
Shorten
slang,
everything.
and they shorten everything. So I could see very easily people just saying, "Let me get that house music."
Yeah, that's the story. According to all the Puerto Ricans I went to high school with, that's the story they tell.
Yeah, there you go.
Those kids did not let me not like house music.
But then their version of house is a little bit different, right? Because it can be very, very cultural specific, right? Like in terms of like sounding
Not
more.
really,
Right? Really?
especially in the city. Especially in the city.
I've heard some.
Puerto Ricans and black folks hung out tighter than, I'm not gonna say it. There's a saying that's a little disgusting, but let's just say that we're real tight.
Okay.
And we used to listen to, it was house music, dude. When I was in high school, like hip hop was there. I listened to a lot of hip hop,
In
but
Chicago, it was house music.
it was house music.
Being a
That
hip hop
was it.
DJ,
It was either house or rock, and I wasn't into rock yet, so it was house music all night long.
and a lot of Puerto Ricans too, and Spanish. It did get a little cultural specific sometimes because typically the black produced house music was definitely more based within gospel and soul melodies and riffs and the way that was sung. And when you got into Latins producing house, then it became you saw a lot of Latin influence within the time signatures, and even though it's still four on the floor, you still kind of got that Latin beat. You get those Latin grooves.
And like, yeah, you heard
They
that.
started mixing in Suavemente.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding. That's the one song. You play that song, dude. You want to see some Puerto Ricans jump up?
Oh, just anybody, man. The white
Play
people
that
at
song.
at weddings, white people go, "Oh, play Suavemente." That's like the one moment they feel they can dance to Latin music is Suavemente.
So earlier you were talking about when you were DJing for KRS-One, you got a little nervous and stuff.
Scared to death.
What are some of the things that you do to get prepared for a gig? Is it kind of like Eminem on 8 Mile where his palms are sweaty, or
Yeah.
or is
When
it
I
one
was
of these
younger,
things where
yeah.
you just know?
Now it's second nature. Again, there's not. What I try to do is each week I get new music and I try to add as much new music to make the set a little different each time I play. And then I'll go through old music that I haven't played in a while and kind of bring that out. And even though I don't plan anything, I'll still kind of have it out so so it's easier to remind me like, oh, I haven't played this in a while. Let me throw this in there. Throw like an old DMX record in there that people go bananas off of.
DMX was, dude. He
You
made
do.
people flip
Our friend
tables.
Nonstop
Time
is
to move
a
furniture.
DMX
I think it's about that time, fellas. DJ Risky Business. This or that.
What is this?
Unfortunately, we don't have the sound. We don't have the soundtrack.
This or that. This or that. This or that. This or that. DJ Risky Business. This or that. Samples or a drum machine?
I mean, it's samples. I love sampling. I love samples. If samples done right, it's sampling.
Ha, Carlos.
Hey, like I said, it's not that I.
Real quick,
It's not
sidebar.
that.
I
it's
got
not
I got hold on, real quick sidebar. I did a track with someone, and I sampled, what was it, Les McCann. Ryan, you were there. And sometimes it's great to have live instruments, but they were like, there was a horn, a Les McCann horn, and they were like, well, let's replay the horn on this. And I was like, listen. And they kept arguing with me, and I'm like, at the end of it, I was like, listen, unless you're bringing Les fucking McCann back from the dead, I'm sampling Les McCann. Ain't nobody gonna play this fucking part like Les McCann. That's why I'm sampling Les fucking McCann. So unless you can bring his ass back in the studio, that's what I'm doing.
He just put his foot down like.
Okay, samples. No, and again, I need to reiterate, it's not that I don't like sampled music or the music that comes out of sampling. It's that I think it's a little bit cheating.
It depends.
There you go.
Most music that you like, you don't even know have samples in it.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's when it's good.
DJ Risky Business, this or that, SoundCloud or Bandcamp?
Bandcamp, all the way, because SoundCloud kicked me off.
Oh, what? Sidebar. What happened?
Sidebar.
Oh, well, because I put all my mixtapes up there, and once in a while my mixtapes aren't exactly
legal.
Right.
Full-blown copywritten, so...
Yeah, but that wasn't specifically to you, though. They came down hard on
they came down hard on everybody, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was up
Speaking of
there...
which...
I had so many followers, I was so pissed off.
So now everybody moved to what, Mixcloud?
They do Mixcloud. I do Mixcrate because you can download. Because my whole thing is I want people to be able to download the mix for free.
Speaking of which, I got an email from YouTube just last week. I had a video up there where there was this dog that was just kind of like chilling, and then all of a sudden it jumped on this water hose and started humping this water hose, just going to work. So I recorded it and I put, you know, whatever song that is, the Harlem Shake.
That's not.
Yeah.
So I put the Harlem Shake on top of it, and it was timed perfectly. And then, and right when it hits, that dog jumps on the hose and starts humping the hell out of the hose, right? Well, YouTube didn't like it and said that I was probably infringing on copyright, so I think they took it down.
Harlem Shake people made
Everybody put that on their video.
infringes on copyright because that's not the real Harlem Shake.
No.
Dude, I've made 3 Harlem Shake videos.
The real Harlem,
I don't give a damn.
that's the real Harlem Shake.
Yeah.
They should be infringing on copyright.
Right. How are you gonna?
Hey, Charlie,
culture
that
vultures?
was funny, right? When the Harlem Shake came out, I was like, "That's not the fucking Harlem Shake."
Yeah.
None of these idiots know what it is.
There's somebody made a weird like title for a song. It's like the bad part of social media and like YouTube, you know, college students or whoever, they want to reappropriate it and call it the Harlem Shake, and all of a sudden they
I was laughing.
stuck.
To me, the Harlem Shake was like Puffy in '98.
Yeah.
DJ Risky Business, Cubs or Sox?
Ooh.
Oh, get out of here, Cubs.
Thank you, sir. I thought you said both. I said get out. We're done.
Oh no. I grew up right by Comiskey Park area, but
Poor child. It's nice to see you're starting to make moves in life.
Hey.
That's right, sir. DJ Risky Business, vinyl or digital?
Ooh. Classic.
I mean, it all depends. If I don't ever have to carry a crate of records again in my life, that's digital. I love vinyl. Vinyl is a certain sound. It's great. Like, but now for, you know.
No one wants to carry CDs anymore. They just want to carry a thumb drive.
Yeah. Digital for me. I'm good with digital.
Or what you could do is do like that one DJ, but instead just make the lineup on your iPod and then just plug that in and have it slam from one record to the next.
This kid one time came up to me and he was like, "Oh man," I'm like, I laughed because I'm like, you don't know who the fuck I am, and I'm not gonna explain it to you. And he was
Drown.
like,
Almost drowned
"Oh
right
man,"
now.
it's one of these. Look, and I'm a fucking backpack hip hop just like anybody else, and this kid comes in with his fucking little hip hop nerd attitude, and he comes in, he's like, "Yo man, I ain't keeping it real." He's like, you ain't keeping it real." I laughed and I'm like, "Motherfucker, you don't know what real is." I'm like, he goes, "You should be playing vinyl." I'm like, "Let me tell you something. What's real? Vinyl's real fucking heavy. That's first of all. My back is real fucking bad. You ain't never carried a crate of records in your life, you prick."
Should just punched him. It's too much explaining.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. House or dubstep?
Oh fuck,
Oh,
dubstep's
come
garbage,
on.
man. That's like death metal of electronic music.
Yeah.
Eminem or Marshall Mathers?
Eminem.
Luke or Leia?
Princess Leia.
Just gonna
Yes.
pause him.
Yeah. All right.
Luke on the
Jar Jar Binks or that little shitty actor that played little Anakin?
Man, you hate on that dude so much.
I hate that.
Christopher Lloyd, or was that his name, or Jake Lloyd? Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd, that would have been an awesome narration.
Could you imagine? We're
Yeah,
gonna start this X-Wing fighter. I just need 350.
I don't know. Jar Jar Binks never drove me crazy. I didn't care. I don't like him, but I didn't go nuts like hating on him. Jar Jar Binks, fuck it.
Did you ever
Really
see?
Hayden Christensen.
Did you ever see the theory that Jar Jar Binks is the drunken master?
Yeah,
Did that make sense to you at all?
I mean, yeah, he's the Sith Lord.
And I say that because I think my boy DJ Risky Business has a little attachment thing with this whole Star Wars thing. Look at, he just picked up.
Just comes out the bottom
listening,
left of the screen.
He just picked up a little toy.
All creepy
Yoda.
like. Yoda just comes in all creepy like.
I'm glad you said Leia.
Oh, I'm a Star Wars fanatic junkie.
What do you think about the last movie?
I loved it. Thought it was great. It's Star Wars. It's fun. It was fun again. It wasn't a 3-hour political fucking movie that I had to sit and watch 4 times to understand what was going on. It was great. It was just fun action Star Wars. It was what Star Wars is supposed to be. And even if they said it's a remake of the first couple ones, let
me go ahead and squash that. It's a remake. You know how it's not a remake?
Because it's different?
No, because they killed dude. They killed
Oh, sure. Well, they're saying like the certain parts.
No, they're saying it's a retro.
Yeah, the certain elements of it.
Right?
So
No,
They're saying the formula was the same. You know what though? Fuck it. Let the formula be the same every time. I don't give a shit.
right. You changed the formula and you pooped all over the screen.
Yeah, it's popcorn movie, man. It's the best popcorn movie ever made. That and Jaws.
Luke wants you to watch.
I think that's what they had to do though to get it back kind of on track though. They had to revisit a lot of the same type of elements. They had to. I thought they did a very good job of balancing, quote unquote news story with some of the old elements because you had to win those fans back. Because I think if this movie, because I mean Disney's looking to make 50 movies or more, so like you had to come out in that first one and just do what they did, which is get the feel back. That's all this movie was for, to get that feel and to get that excitement back.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
God, I love Rey, man. Boy, she's cute. She's great. Finn is great. All the new characters. The new cast is phenomenal. All of them are great. BB-8's awesome. He's a fun droid. He's got personality more than even R2. This is real fucking nerdy.
I thought maybe R2 was popular because he's that dumb kid in class. and like beep boop pop pop pop, and he didn't really do anything but getting himself in trouble. Him and C3PO, you know, and C3PO is a snitch, so that
He was the smart one.
R2 R2 was a little bit dumb. R2 was a little bit dumb. He always got in trouble because he was always trying to get himself somewhere and blah blah blah. That kid.
He's slow.
Yeah, he's the dumb kid in class. And BB-8, BB-8 is like,
He's like a little dog. He's cool.
are we fighting? You want me to start start shooting or what? And then dude told him, no, go take off running. He's like, I'm out. Boom, took off running. He's an ATV.
He took off rolling.
And look at R2's little retarded ass. He's got like 3 wheels, like rolling and stuff. Get out of here, dude. BB-8 saved the day.
Yeah,
I should have done that. I should have done that on this or that. It's not too late. BB-8 or R2D2?
R2.
How dare you?
Nice.
Why?
Okay.
We got R2 tattooed right there.
Oh.
It's not too late to get that changed to a BB-8, dude.
Wow. Being a hater.
Dude, R2, he's a little dumb kid.
R2 was a smart one, always hacking stuff, helping out.
R2 was like licking windows
a,
is what R2
was like
did.
a queen running around, didn't know what he wanted to do with his life, and was like in the wrong place. He's everybody else ducking because there's fire, and he's putting his hands up in the air. He always got shot a little bit, you know.
Because he's a punk. How many times did BB-8 get shot?
Not never.
Not never. Thank you, Jack. So now that we're on the topic of films, DJ Risky Business, you're involved in a film, huh?
I am involved in a film.
Not one of those nudie ones, I hope.
I am.
DJ's gone wild.
I am working on a film with my buddy Ryan called Midway, the story of Chicago hip-hop. It is a documentary on the city of Chicago's hip-hop scene from the early days of its birth in the 70s all the way to its current state of where it's at today.
Where is it at today?
It's doing pretty good right now. I mean, you have several styles of hip-hop that are currently coming out of the Chicago scene. You have more of a traditional kind of boom bap sound that is having success with some of the crews, like groups called Save Money, which Vic Mensa is a very talented young kid coming out of that group. You have the Pivot Gang with a artist by the name of Shaba, who's amazing. I think he's got one of the highest ceilings out of anybody. A young kid by the name of Ad2, amazing MC out of Chicago. He got Chance the Rapper, who's obviously having huge success. He just recently was on Saturday Night Live, and he's the first artist in the history of SNL to be an independent artist and perform on SNL, which is huge.
Oh, crazy.
Wow.
He was on the Late Show too, wasn't he? Or what is it?
Yeah, we're both on the
Stephen Colbert.
Stephen Colbert, yeah. Late night.
Yeah, him and Saba both did their song Angels on there. And then you have another on the Southside. I mean, those guys are from pretty much all over the city, but South and West Side both have a style of hip-hop which has been kind of labeled drill, which is way more kind of like gangster stuff, but it's more of a super street orientated style of hip hop that's currently coming out of the city. Now, I'm not necessarily a big fan of drill. There are some rappers that are drill rappers that are actually pretty legitimate MCs, you really kind of have to sift through it. But
Who?
in my opinion, but it's definitely a little bit more simple lyrically.
Who's legit? Who?
I think
who would
Herb's
you pick?
pretty legit. I think Dirk is definitely legit. And Bibi is legit. Don't
BB-8.
smirk, Ryan.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a big
wasn't
fan of the
done with
music,
coffee.
but I can tell you Dirk can spit for sure.
Okay.
So
But
what?
they're just doing what they know, and I don't knock on it. It's not my thing, and I don't hate on it because it's not for me. Even though I live in the same area as they do, or we're from the same area, like Chicago, Southside, we experience some of the same things. They're in a niche area they're definitely going through some stuff, and that's definitely down to I mean, even in drill music, within drill music, they have their own language. There's its own slang. There's a lot to it, and it's clearly, it's super popular. It's just not for everyone. It's not for me, but it's clearly for somebody
You're
because
talking to a specific group,
Someone's listening to it. Yeah.
and they understand it. Yeah, they're talking to. Yeah.
I mean, we're from a different era too, where lyrics meant something. The further we've gone, it seems that it's just like pop music, man. Simple stuff will always win because it's easy for people to understand, even if you're not speaking English.
Doesn't it feel like they're trying them? Not even a drill, but just rap in general now. Like it's like I hate listening to the radio now. And
Yeah.
I wasn't that super anti-radio guy growing up because I can always find stuff. I mean,
No, it was good music.
starting you could find stuff like when you're making your CDs and stuff. Like remember when everybody was like when people learned how to record and blank CDs came out and everybody's throwing them in their Walkmans and stuff like that. Like you could find stuff and you can make your own little niche, play selection from stuff they played off the radio. You just have to listen at different times of the day.
I disagree. I've never been a radio fan.
Well,
Ever.
you're elitist, Ryan, so that's a little different. I knew you in college. You're a lot younger. Well, yeah, a lot. We know how you are. I go to get my I go to learn more hip hop when we hung out the few times we did with everybody. So it's okay. You're like different echelon. It's okay. But I'm talking about coming up. I'm talking about like being young. I didn't have my collection at the age of 12. So
When we were coming up, Charlie, you could hear Gangstar on the radio.
yeah.
You would hear Tribe on the radio. I mean, that was pop rap then. It was crazy. Like now it's
Good.
now it's even throwing in the underground thing. Like people are like, oh, it's that weird underground backpack music. Well, no, actually, it was pop music on the radio. It was played on GCI and this and that. But one thing I was going to say about the drill scene is the biggest star in the drill scene, the biggest person that I would credit to the drill scene is the producers and what's his name? Keith's producer. What was his name, Ryan? Young Chop.
They're like bigger than the actual.
Chop.
I knew it was young. I couldn't remember what.
Yeah, I give Young Chop all the credit in the world, and nobody listens to Chief Keef because he's saying anything. First of all, no one can understand him. Second, yeah, and secondly, no one really cares. They listen to Keef and a lot of that drill music because of the beats, and that sound was really developed by Chop. So I give Chop the credit. And he seems like actually one of the few dudes that actually has his head on straight, and it's not like a complete idiot like some of these guys. But
he has his head above.
Yeah, he has his head above
and he sees
water.
the value in it, whereas other people are trying to be super authentic to the culture and like
Sure.
and all
But
that.
he's a young kid.
Stuff. Yeah.
He came up with a new sound. He came up with cool drum patterns that I mean, if I don't have to listen to some of the MCs on them, I'll sit and listen to that stuff all day. It's good stuff sometimes. It doesn't necessarily always have to be the jazz and soul, stuff, samples and stuff like that. I mean, he has almost no samples in his stuff. It's almost all simply just drum patterns.
They made up themselves, yeah.
I got the when I DJed for a rapper named ECL, I did an album. ECL is a Northside Chicago rapper, and I did an album with him in the late '90s. And I got to work up at Creators Way Associated Labels, it's short for Seawall. That is a producer by the name of Legendary Trackster who owned that, and I got to watch him do work live, which was pretty amazing. He's a multi-platinum, super producer. He's produced most of Twister stuff, Do or Die, that whole kind of like Chicago West Side gangster sound was really his, and he is really the godfather of a lot of the sounds you hear today with that kind of rolling snare that you hear in music, where you get those snares and those toms that are really like tripled up, and he's pretty much the inventor of all that. He doesn't get the credit for it, but he did it. The South kind of took what he was doing, and the Southern rap scene really took his style and blew up with it. It's more typical, another typical story of Chicago music kind of getting appropriated in other markets, because Chicago's always been considered a consumer market and not a creative market.
So what are some of the challenges that you've come up to while making this documentary?
Oh, dealing with rappers. Any of them, getting people to show up on time, getting them in. And I mean, they all believe in it, and they're all very excited and happy to do it. It's just,
follow through.
Some of these people are actually like, they're artists. They're flaky. So, it's like you got to be here at 6 o'clock p.m. because we have a crew and we have people that there's things to do after and this and that, and they're like, yeah.
I'll be there, and they show up on Wednesday.
Like, let's do it. And we're like, we're early for rappers. No, I mean, that's it. Tracking people down. My job as a producer and researcher, and I have a lot of connects for being in the industry for a long time. I've been blessed to get to know a lot of these people. So my job for this is actually tracking people down. There's a lot of people that I don't know that I'm literally just hours and hours and hours and hours tracking people down across the country, just trying to find them, and people that are gone that don't live here anymore, and trying to find out when they're going to be here and how I'm going to get them in. Literally, one of my favorite people we haven't interviewed him yet, but one of my big kind of accomplishments, I think, would be tracking down one of rap and hip-hop's first people ever, the Rappin' Duke, Sean Brown. I don't know if you ever remember the song Daha Daha, which was immortalized by Biggie when the Notorious Big and Juicy said, "Remember Rappin' Duke, Daha Daha, I never thought that hip-hop would take it this far." Well, that was an actual record that was popular when I was a kid. It was a novelty record because the guy rapped like John Wayne, the Duke. And he's from Chicago. And I tracked him down, and he's in Atlanta doing a children's show.
Wow.
And we're eventually gonna interview him and have him part of the film.
So how does that work then, DJ? Like, do you kind of like figure out their schedule for the year, work with Ryan to say they're gonna be in town at this point in time, and then you try to catch them when they're in town, or you got people in?
I try to catch them when they're in town, and then I try to yell at everybody and say, "I need you to be at the studio and do this." And then Ryan goes, "I got something else," and I'm like, "I don't care what you have. I don't care what Rashawn has." And then they yell at me, and so it's a little bit of a struggle sometimes. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to cater a little bit. I have to keep the crew interest at on the top of my head, and then I try to cater to the artists a little bit too because again, at the end of the day, in my opinion, they're doing us the favor by coming down to do this. I mean, eventually they're going to understand that they need to. I try to.
They need to be in it. Yeah.
Yeah, they need to be in it.
I mean, they are doing us the favor, but like Risky said, it's all of us are it's work. It's not hangout time. It's not we're not doing it to put up a fun interview on YouTube or anything. It's a massive project, and
Massive undertaking.
we just we've been really lucky so far with people taking it pretty seriously. So just despite dealing with musicians, I'd say our track record for people having to reschedule or showing up late has actually been pretty small.
Oh, nice.
But
yeah, we've had a lot of luck with people actually showing up basically on time and actually showing up and not having to reschedule, stuff like that. But people are now, everybody has bought into what we're doing and understands the scope of what we're trying to do, and they're supporting it. And it's going to be, it's unprecedented, that's without a doubt.
Are you guys flying anybody in, or are you guys, or have you guys traveled to people if they're not going to be in the Chicago area?
We will be traveling. That's going to kind of fall on Ryan. I'm going to try to. When Ryan's ready to go and we start making those moves, then I'll start organizing the people that talking to in those areas.
Yeah, we've. To date, we've talked. We've actually filmed right about 140 interviews. We've talked to.
Wow.
We've talked to well over 200 people about being in it and being involved in some way, and everybody is down for it. A lot of them are not in Chicago, and yeah, we will be traveling. We're actually kind of ramping up what I like to call phase 2 of the project, which is phase 1 was kind of like the grassroots campaign, kind of get the production started, to start spreading everything word of mouth, building it up organically. And now we're starting to get into phase 2, so it's going to be a little bit more focused as far as getting out with the press. We're starting to talk to some people, talk to some organizations about some sponsorship, and to bring in some real funding into the project so we can travel to these places and get things done that we need to.
One of the big coups we recently had. Was we finally got an interview with what I would consider a top 5 interview for us. We interviewed George Daniels, and people who don't know George Daniels is a retailer in Chicago who music did not move through Chicago without coming to see George. Every major star in hip-hop, R&B, jazz, anything, if you came to Chicago and you were from out of town, you came to see George. And he had a store on the west side, George's Music Room. But he was he's one of the most important retailers in the history of music, retail music, period. He is a superstar in Chicago. A lot of rappers every rapper from Biggie to Jay-Z to anybody come to town, you went to George's, just literally out of respect, like he was the Godfather. George, I've known George for quite some time. I did a event with George for Scarface years ago. Me and Mike One, our rapper Mike One, did a block party for him. I've known George many years. I've hung out as a consumer, just kids looking for records at George's store. George coming down, George doesn't do interviews like this, ever. He doesn't do anything like this. So getting him out of the house, George is in his late 70s. I mean, he goes out and parties all the time. You see George at the clubs. But getting him to do anything like this, it took It took me 7 months and like 200 phone calls to make this happen.
He finally did the interview, so good.
But it's funny because he did it.
Please leave me alone.
And what happened was, I was calling him, and his manager called me, and I actually happened to know his manager and have a good relationship with his manager. And Ryan knew his manager too, and his manager was like, "Okay, I believe in your project. I'm gonna make sure George comes down, and we're gonna do this." So George came down, and he loved it. And now George is a super supporter of what we're gonna do with this. And it was a huge, huge coup. Having George in this film is as important as having Kanye or Common in this film.
Yeah, I remember going down back when I first got up to Chicago in 2000. There's a lot of different signings and stuff like that. Just to go down, just to see people that was coming through the city.
So you've been to George's?
Yeah. Back in college, I went a lot. 2000, 2001, 2002. Like you felt like people were coming every once a month. Somebody was there going through and figure out who was out there signing or whatever. You can get your stuff signed or stuff like that, or having things, yeah.
What was interesting is George goes so far back in the music industry. He started out as a janitor and then a driver at Chess Records for Etta James.
Whoa.
And
while he was dating Minnie Riperton.
While he was dating Minnie Riperton. Minnie Riperton. He went to prom with Minnie Riperton, brought her to prom, and then she was like, "Hey, come down to Chess." She was a receptionist and a background vocalist. She got him a job there, and then he ended up becoming the driver for Etta James.
Nice.
He talks about that.
That's gonna be great. That's great.
Yeah, Ryan sent me a picture, and my mouth just dropped. You guys didn't even tell me this was happening, which is fine. But I was like,
it happened very quick.
Oh my god! Oh yeah.
One of those times, be here, get here.
Trust me, I was way more excited than heaved. That was awesome. As a high school kid, people would look at you sideways if you didn't go visit George's music room like once a month.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, George is I told him, I said, if I was driving down Roosevelt Road one day and the city decided to put up a bronze statue of George Daniels like Philadelphia did Rocky Balboa, it wouldn't be a surprise to me.
Everybody would be trying to get some high fives.
Yeah, he's that important to the city. He's one of the greatest sons of Chicago. I want to do a buddy of mine, speaking to Sons of Chicago, I want to do a gratuitous
plug
for my buddy, good friend of mine. Anybody, Ryan knows him. A good friend of mine does a really interesting site. It's on Facebook and Twitter, ChicagoHistory.com, and he just released shirts, and they back a lot of what we do, and it's a huge, huge site, and it studies, basically focuses on the history every day. It's different things about the history of the city, and obviously, since we're talking about historical things, I just wanted to mention his site, so people should definitely.
What was it called?
What's that?
What is it? What's the URL?
It's Twitter. It's at Chicago_history, I believe is, and then you go to ChicagoHistory.com. It's such a cool site because he's just.
I went to ChicagoHistory.com.
Really cool dude that runs it. I will tell you right now.
Is it .com or .org?
The Twitter is at Chicago_history, and then the Facebook. He's getting a site coming up.
While we're looking for that, just a quick question for Ryan. Just quick. Percentage, since you said you're moving into phase 2, percentage of how much is the project done so far, in terms of or is it just a lot of footage, and there's still a whole other editing part to it.
I mean, there's definitely the editing part to it. I said I guess if I have to go with the project as a whole, and I'm just talking about the film portion of it, I'd say we're probably at the 50% mark.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Of it.
We've had you.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely see kind of the light at the light at the end of the tunnel now.
Right.
We've got. I mean, we're still, because this is turning into an archives project. We're still going to be interviewing people throughout the rest of the year. We've identified the kind of the last 15 or 20 people. I don't want to put a number on it. It's actually probably a little bit more than that. But we've identified the small group of people that are like, you can't make a film about Chicago hip hop without these people in it. So kind of depends on scheduling them and get them taken care of. Once we do that, we can start the editing process of it. So everything's
cool.
kind of.
Because what I like about it, and Carlos, you could probably chime in on this too, and Jack too, that we've had Ryan on the show many different times, but I like the it's almost like a check-in, on how the project,
How the progress.
and it's said different, but each time there's more information, being said. If you go back on other parts of the shows, guys, listen to where it is. You can literally see how this project is going. If you think way back to Ryan's very, very first episode, like even when he came on as a guest, it was all different points in time and different milestones they've accomplished or people they've gotten to interview. It's really cool.
And I think what's really cool is it's growing even bigger than a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan touched on this where the Midway crew or the Midway project is working with Columbia to actually make this a historical
Oh wow.
documented thing.
Yeah.
And even past that, which there's some things that are kind of in the works that we can't really talk about right now, but this thing is growing, and it's absolutely amazing to see it going from the conversation that Ryan had with Risky, and then Ryan had with me, and then the three of us were in that really cold-ass van that Risky was driving with no back seats. But whatever.
I'm a DJ. Gotta have gear back there.
Gotta have space, right?
Yeah.
It's the rap van.
No, I like the progression. Going,
yeah.
And I couldn't remember how this will be released, but I almost feel like it should be in theaters, but at the same time, I think it should be like, old school root style, like on TV, like Tuesday nights going down, everybody watching.
It's a mini series.
Think about it. It'd be kind of cool. There's something to those type of things that they don't even do that anymore.
The goal will be, ideally it's going to be a film in the theaters. So it's going to be taken to film festivals, and it's going to run, come hell or high water. That motherfucker's going to run in the goddamn theater.
Yeah.
Even if we
cool.
have to rip the bitch out.
We're see it all done.
Yeah.
Sundance.
One of the things that Carlos is kind of touching on, we're going to, now I'm overexcited and I'll spill the beans, so I'm going to shut up here in a second, but we are working on.
Hang on, before you go there, let me let everyone in on this.
Had to pull it back.
Before this project started, Ryan had a full head of hair, but because of me and Risky, he has officially pulled every last strand of hair out of his head.
And the hair goes the opposite direction. Ryan's hair is going the opposite direction.
Dude, me and Risky, excitable. Excitable might be a good word for Risky and I. And there's so many times we'll say something on social media, and right when I hit send, I get a text from Ryan saying, "Take that shit down."
Oh yeah.
And for as bad as I am, Risky is just as bad.
Oh, I'm always running my mouth way too early.
Well, as the director and kind of executive producer of the project, it's my job to kind of control the project, to control the flow of information and things like that. And I'm glad that I've got a team that's cares about it as much and is so excited about it. But sometimes
That's such a lovely way to put it.
Yo,
They were yelling at me. We were in a meeting with Columbia College here in Chicago, and we're meeting with some of the heads of this department over there, and they had to like basically tell me, now you need to keep your mouth shut here, and you need to keep quiet here.
just let me talk.
Not because I'm gonna tell anything I'm not supposed to say. It's because I don't shut up, and I'll just keep talking.
We've only got so much time. There's only so many associated stories that we can fit into it. We have to keep on the agenda.
Was I not good at that meeting?
We're very good.
You give me my props.
That's because Ryan brought a can of Planters peanuts with him.
I love peanuts.
You were gonna spill the beans on something, Risky.
Oh yeah, what are you gonna spill the beans on?
Well, I'm not going to spill the beans. I'm just saying I would like to. I'm geeked on it, but we're working on a project with Columbia that's going to be really huge, not just for Midway, but for the city itself, on the actual archiving of not only this project, but physical things to Chicago hip-hop, and basically
all the rappers, and we're gonna have them taxidermied.
That's really cool. I didn't even know Columbia had that type of like department that was like so official. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's technically the Center for Black Music Research, but it's part of Columbia College. They've got a huge jazz. I don't want to say collection, but I mean they're the Center for Black Music Research is, it's known throughout the world. They have people from all different countries come to research and to do their thesis and do their it's pretty insane. And
wow. Okay.
Yeah, and they really want to build up a hip hop archive to match with the jazz and soul and blues and other forms of black music, and it just
they approached us.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a natural fit. So we're ironing out the details with them, and hopefully we can make the announcement official in another few weeks.
The next time you show up on Sketchstone, we're gonna have breaking news.
It's gonna be cool because basically some of these certain things, like whether it's whether it's flyers, photos, or physical things like a piece of equipment or certain things that are all Chicago hip-hop related, they're going to be archived and stored not only but like museum quality and protected forever. Nice. So it's going to be in a room that is temperature controlled, filed properly, and it's going to be taken care of literally like daily and like.
Watch out! They're coming for your Eminem tape.
Yeah.
It's not Chicago hip hop. I don't have to give that up.
Detroit. Posters and
stuff.
It's
funny
like
though.
Would be cool though. Yeah.
But that's where that assault and battery tape's gonna go.
Oh.
I will say about the project though, it is kind of really neat to at this point where we're at now to kind of see where it's progressed just from a wacky idea that I had as far as doing a project like this. I can still remember kind of going around to some of the friends that I had at the last place that I was working and just kind of saying like, you know what, I'm gonna do this project. I am, and like, yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, cool. Then to grow from that and to kind of to build the team to get started to then me leaving that job and that transforming my whole life now to do film video stuff full time, and to get to the point where we're at with the film, because like I said, we're 140-ish interviews into it, and we're seeing it's fun seeing the stories overlap now. We're starting to see people, starting to see everything gel together with with certain stories or certain and then just to get the response that we're getting. I mean, we always knew that it was going to. We always thought that it could be something that that people would really enjoy and kind of get behind, and it's been even better, I think, than Risky or I even expected to this point. We've been really lucky so far.
And Risky, tell the story of how you guys have interviewed some folks that said basically enjoy it because we're never going to be in the same room again.
Yeah, we've had a few groups that I've brought together that I managed to pull together from people that have split, live in different parts of the country, and not that they're not friends, but it's just something they don't get together too much, if ever, and they haven't done interviews for a long time, or don't perform together, and they're key people, and it's cool because like two people or two groups in particular, one being Psychodrama, which is a very ultra classic Chicago hip hop group. They're not really together anymore. I mean, once in a while they'll pop up, but they've never done an interview like this before. Buck told me, the one rapper is named Young Buck. He told me we've never done an interview like this. We never will again. This was strictly for you, for this film, to get our story out. And they had to come from, Buck had to come from Minneapolis, and he drove down, and Side and Nuisance got together, and, they're all friends, they're family, they love each other, but they don't get together too much. There was another group called East of the Rock, which was really special because they're one of these groups that put out a record in the 90s that was like this mysterious record that everybody loved, and this group never really made it. They never really did anything after that record. It's because they broke up. They got into a fight literally on the highway. They couple reasons why. One of the guys missed the show. There was record execs from major labels there. They were late for the show. The show went bad. They had a huge blowout that night because they blew their opportunity. And they broke up, and that was 20 years ago. And until that night, I brought them together and had them fly in from different parts of the country. They had not been together since that. And I actually got to snap photos of them, like seeing each other for the first time, hugging, and really experiencing that. And that's one of these records that's a classic Chicago record that was from a group that never turned into what they should have. Mm-hmm. Called East of the Rock.
The story is going to be cool for a bunch of different reasons. One is people seeing groups like that come back together. Obviously, seeing the story, they're going to see how the city of Chicago and its politics and its social issues and stuff like that affected this genre and in there, and even people like it's going to be cool to see people's reaction to see somebody like Freddie Rodriguez in the film. Too. I don't know if people are familiar with the actor Freddie Rodriguez from Dead Presidents, 6 Feet Under. He's in the Robert Rodriguez Planet Terror.
Is he from Chicago? Is he a Chicago native?
Yeah, he's from Chicago, and he's a former rapper and dancer.
A group called Children of Reality.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so he's super excited to be a part of it. So it's just kind of cool, to bring people like that who, are like, wait, what? He started where?
I'm trying to track down Wood Harris, but Wood Harris is another one who rapped and who was part of a rap scene in Chicago who went on to become a very famous actor, as we know now. But as I told Shondo, I was laughing because we went and saw Ant-Man, and I'm like, oh, Christ, Wood Harris is in a Marvel film. We're never going to get him now.
A couple more questions before we wrap it up. What is one of the biggest lessons you've learned while making this documentary, while helping make this documentary?
Is that to Risky or to me?
For Risky, because it's Risky's show. Take it easy.
Oh, Ryan.
Don't touch Ryan's bald head. He gets so mad. So mad. No, I mean,
I like Ryan's beard.
You know, like. I don't know. What's something I learned about working on this film?
Yeah.
Any life lessons? Any valuable
Yeah.
techniques?
Here, let me give you.
Learning a lot about the city that I grew up in.
Nice.
Learning more about people that were my neighbors and my peers. And you know, some of the stuff we're talking about the social aspects, because like any other city, but like, you know, being hip hop in a lot of places could kind of mean the same thing. And I'm not saying it does or doesn't, but being hip hop in Chicago is very specific because we deal with many challenges in Chicago. Chicago is arguably the most segregated city on the planet, and we deal with so many different things just existing here, from culture to race. And, you know, it was funny because as a kid, most other places they're like, oh, the kid is into hip hop and he's probably hanging with the bad kids and into the rap and the hip hop and all that. Well, here in Chicago, if you were into hip hop, you were hanging out. You were like the good kid. You were hanging out with the nerdy kid. You were staying away from the gangbanging and all the stuff that was trouble, because gangbangers didn't get into hip hop. They didn't rap. They weren't doing none of that. They were interested in making money and hustling. So, but yeah, learning the stories that we're learning from people, learning about the more about my city.
I think one important lesson to step away from, especially for people that are listening to this, because this topic shows up during the show quite a bit actually, and it's you need to be careful or don't be a jerk, because I don't think if Ryan or you, Risky, were known as jerks
Assholes
in the hip hop community, I don't think this project would be as successful as it is. Because how many times have people tried to do a project somewhat like this, and they've just gone absolutely nowhere?
Yeah.
And that lesson goes for pretty much everywhere, because if you have an animator who's known as being a crybaby, Jack, you can probably chime in on this. Animators that you might know that have gotten a bad reputation for being kind of a jerk, and then they end up getting nowhere in life.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of true in most professions, most industries. I mean, I don't think anyone really wants to work with a complete asshole. I mean, there's the rare occasion where somebody's, you know, so incredibly talented that people put up with it, but I mean that's few and far between, and they had to, you know, they had to not be an asshole at some point to get that far. So,
yeah.
All right, last question, DJ Risky Business. What is your life's theme song?
Nice.
What is my life's theme song?
It's the soundtrack to your life.
That's a pretty serious question to ask someone who plays music for a living. Christ.
Well, you should know.
Pressure's on.
yeah,
One, it's your life.
because you can only pick one.
Two,
Only do one.
Because I can only pick one at this exact moment.
or if you can, or if there's like
Mix
different
it in.
stages in life where.
All right, hold on. I'm going to play it.
Oh boy. Be prepared for just about anything.
So we need that elevator music again.
Yeah. It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us. Or no, this is it.
Drum roll, please.
Oop,
Oh, wrong one.
This is my current life theme song.
Sound of Silence? Like, come on.
I'm just a chill dude.
Nostalgia's flowing over me. I need some cross colors.
Okay, hold on, and then one more. Ready? Hold on, I got one more. This is one of my all-time favorite songs.
Yeah, son. Take that, hip hop nation.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song on Resurrection.
I like it.
Like it a lot.
I like it a lot. Yeah, we are past 2 hours, my friends.
Yeah.
But it's been good having you on, dude.
Cool, man.
It was, oh boy, Charlie's trying to show off a little bit here.
It's the end of the show.
Oh, Steve Harvey.
That's not Steve Harvey.
No,
Wow.
So for those of you guys
the
that are
winner
listening
is-
on iTunes, Charlie is sharing his Tay Diggs picture, and Tay Diggs' pants are a hot mess.
Look at the shoes. Look at the shoes.
God, I can't. You have to zoom in on the shoes. His shoes look like some
Can't do it.
overpriced, ratchet ass All Stars.
Wow.
Oh, you're up with those pants. You weren't kidding.
Told you, man. It's like he just got done painting the house.
Cabaret.
He looks like MC Hammer when he picked up being a handyman.
Look, those pants in the Cavaricis. You remember Cavaricis?
MC Handyman.
Yeah.
MC Handyman.
MC Handyman. And that hat. I ain't mad at the hat though. I like that.
I actually got one of those. It's over there in the box.
Nice jacket, Charlie.
Yeah, it's not mine.
That's the one they provided for you?
The jacket, the shirt, everything.
It was like walking into a restaurant with a T-shirt, and they said, "Sir, you're gonna need a jacket and a tie."
We need to give you a jacket.
Right.
I like the shirt. I had a thought. I could just wear this out.
So they hooked you up with your whole top side?
Yeah. So they measured me for everything, around 130 or 2, and then I had something similar on. Just no, I didn't have a blazer. So I had a sweater with a button up. So I think, and we had to send them full length body shots, like front, back, and side last night, and then we sent them headshots. Obviously, the headshots are so when they walk in the room, they know who we are. And I think what he did, what the stylist did, really cool dude, went back and then like found something that was similar, but in what they wanted this to look like based on colors and stuff that worked great. If you search like Steve Harvey or any of those daytime show like audience, everybody's always wearing more brighter colors because they said no black, no jeans, no busy color patterned shirts and stuff like that. And it's always like bright single colored shirts. And I think Steve Harvey's a little different, where they're not just putting you in like a polo or something like that, or like a button up. Like he's putting people in like suits and other stuff. I met another guy on there who was
Did you get to keep it, or
cardiologist from like Atlanta, Dr. Montgomery. Really cool dude. One of those like doctors that you see on all these shows. I looked at his Twitter. He looked like he runs the gambit of these different shows. And he's like, the show's doing good when they're like fitting you for suits and stuff like that instead of just regular clothes.
Charlie, where do they film that at? Where's he shooting at?
The NBC Tower.
Oh, okay.
Over off of
Michigan?
Columbus. Yeah.
I was curious if he was doing it like at any of those studios over by Harpo.
I thought because my studio I work at's over in the West Loop, so I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy. But no, he's down at NBC.
Yeah,
in
that's a pain in the
Nebraska.
ass.
Yeah. So we had to go all the way down there, and I don't know how anybody doesn't get lost. Whatever. I don't know what floor it was on, but like it just wraps around, and then next thing you know, you're right by the stage, and everything obviously is a lot smaller, but it was really cool. And that's his book, Mix Me. So yeah,
Did
That's pretty
you?
cool.
Did
That's
they give
awesome.
you a free copy of that book?
yeah, he handed me and Monica the book afterwards.
Signed?
So like, he didn't sign it. He didn't sign the two books.
What?
I know. I
You
wanted.
want to have him sign it because you want to just be cool. Like you would just be like, I don't need you to sign
Yeah,
it.
he was really cool. I give Tay Diggs is now up there on my list. He just seems like a cool dude. Because what happens is we came in, we had certain places we need to sit, and the other couple was on the other side of the room, and they were over there, and then like we had our little time. But then when they cut it, that segment was done. Tay exit stage right, we exit stage right, so we got to like meet them over on the right side, and I think they kind of did that on purpose so that we can kind of meet them, and then
Sure.
gave everybody a hug and chopped it up just a little bit, and then we
He
left
seems like
out.
a cool dude, like a really kind of down to earth dude.
Yeah, because he left out. Mark was like, "You don't got your phone?" I was like, "No." They strategically was like, "Yeah, you can put your phone right there in the green room." So like the dude was real cool about it. I didn't even realize it till I'm walking out on stage. This motherfucker told me to leave my phone. So I'm
Yeah.
sitting there in the audience, right? So we
No
had
selfies.
nothing, and Mark was like, "Oh, we want to take a picture," but like they brought him back around while we were outside before he left out. He was like, "Oh yeah, let's take a picture," and he stood there and it was cool. Like he wasn't pretentious or anything. It's great.
That's
So it's cool.
way cool. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it should air in 2 weeks, but I'll let you guys know. They pump them out really quickly. I thought it was gonna be a lot longer, but no, it's 2 weeks and
Right.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. DJ Risky Business, if people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
Well, I don't really
We're
have a
going to get
site.
you some Ricola, dude. That's bonkers.
Yeah, I know, I'm a little sick. You can find me on Facebook, and I go by my real name, Chad, ChadSorenSon, Sorensen. You can friend me on there. I'm love to hear from you.
Come be my friend.
You can be my friend. You can find me at DJ Risky Biz. Hold on. What the hell is my Twitter, Ryan?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
DJ Risky Biz.
B-I-Z.
That's it? Okay, cool. I don't know shit.
Awesome. Ryan's awesome.
Hold on. I'm on Instagram too. Hold on.
Oh, you do the Instagram thing?
I'm the worst on social media. I mean, I'm like getting better, but
What do you put on your Instagram?
comic book shit.
Pictures of himself.
Nice.
DJ
like
Risky
the-
Business on Instagram is just
You mean you're
DJ
not like
Risky Business on Instagram.
There's a lot of
not
Deadpool.
like Pro Styles?
There's a lot of Deadpool on my Instagram right now. It's DJ Risky.
I'm looking forward to that movie.
What's that?
One more time.
I'm looking forward to Deadpool.
Well, I can't wait for Deadpool.
Yeah.
If you read Deadpool, the Joe Kelly run is the best Deadpool.
Yeah.
The early Joe Kelly stuff, 97 to 99, is the best Deadpool.
Dude.
Listen,
See, now you just started a whole nother story time.
Don't do that because I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
Because you're speaking truth right there. But we have to do you have to do it next time.
oh, you see, you know the deal, huh?
Come on now.
Joe
Yeah.
Kelly. Yeah, look, dude, I'm wearing an Ant-Man shirt. See, it's Marvel all day.
Say your Instagram one more time.
DJ Risky Biz, 1975.
There it is.
And then anybody wants to catch me out spinning live every single Friday, you can catch me at Sweet Lounge in Old Town, 1446 North Wells, Old Town, Chicago, Illinois. And this particular Sunday, I'm going to be from noon to 3 at Old Town Social doing the Soul Brunch, spinning soul records.
Good food, good music.
Excellent. And Ryan Brockmeyer, if people are looking for you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at 278. The number is 278 Media, and that goes the same for Instagram, 278 Media. I do not share comics on Instagram. I try to be a little bit more curated content than that. And then Midway, too, if anybody's looking for more information on Midway, you can go to midwaydocumentary.com. It's Midway Doc on Twitter, and it's Midway Doc on Instagram, and our YouTube channel is Midway Documentary Shy, CHI.
Yes.
And yeah, go to midwaydocumentary.com and you'll get a link to all of these things. But do go to
That's one of the
YouTube.
finest pieces of art ever.
That's
so amazing.
That's
a picture of Risky when he wakes up.
Chomp. Oh.
But like I was saying, go to YouTube and take a look at all the vignettes that Ryan has produced. They are
A lot.
pretty dope. They are so cool. Hey Charlie, if
Yes,
people are looking for
Carlos.
you, where can they find you?
So you can go to my website.
Steve Harvey Show.
Yes, you can see me in 2 weeks on the Steve Harvey Show.
Jesus.
And see me and my amazing wife, which she did an amazing job, by the way. So shout out to my wife because they made her ask the question, and she was banking and hoping that I got to do it instead. But I was like, I can't go against the producers. If you want to find me and see my artwork, you can go to cargocollective.com/Charlie B. Williams. Just a list of all my stuff that I do there. TJ is killing me right now. Risky's killing me right now. And you can find me on Facebook.com/CharlieBW3. Twitter the same, CBW3, and then at almighty Pinterest, CharlieBW3. Check out that too.
Yeah, son. And Jack Kasperzak, if people are looking for you.
I'm at sketchbookjack.com and sketchbookjack everywhere else: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. Steve Harvey.
Bacon Kale. What is it? What was it? Baconkale.com?
Bacon algae.
Baconalgae.com? They got you.
Bacon flavored greens.
How much did that cost?
I got a bag of it for like $7.99.
Okay, not too bad. Okay.
Hey Ryan,
Yeah.
I got a great movie in the mail today.
Can I wrap up the show and then you can tell us about the movie? Is that okay with you?
Look at that in its glory.
Scalps.
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow.
Look at that artwork.
It's pretty phenomenal.
Somebody got their head scalped.
Wrap it up.
At least
All
that
right. So I am Carlos Gomez. You can go to carlosrgomez.com. You can also find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest under the handle Coconut Justice. This has been the Sketch Zone podcast. You can find us at sketch.zone. If you're on Twitter, at sketchzone. You can go to facebook.com/thesketchzone. If you're on YouTube, go to youtube.com/sketchzonepodcast. And you can also find us on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes. That's it for us. Thank you, everyone, for being on the show. And if you're listening at home,
guys.
thank you so much for listening and for your support.
Yeah.
That's it for us.
Have a good one, guys.
We have spiked the ball and are doing the icky shuffle.
You're
Have a good week.
See you guys.